If you aim at nothing, you will hit it every time. Join us as we talk about the power of goal setting with our kids. Rob and Amy Rienow here with Visionary Family Ministries, and I just want to start off by telling you, you are doing an amazing job with the fall launch.
Oh, thank you.
It is an overwhelming process that is way more on your shoulders than mine, and you're cobbling together all this educational stuff we do, the Christian school and the tutoring and the community schooling and the homeschooling and the sports and the schedule, and you're doing awesome.
Well, thank you. And as I tell you a lot, that if I didn't have a supportive husband to help me get this all done, it would be a lot harder. So for all the husbands and dads out there, I would be keenly aware of your wife's stress level and everything that's hitting her as the new school year starts. I really appreciate all your help with juggling all the plates that we are now juggling.
Well, it's a lot of pressure, and it's a big deal. So you're doing great. All right, today we're going to keep a conversation going. We started last week on setting goals for our kids. Now, I started the show today with that famous Zig Ziglar quote, "If you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time." So in last week's episode, we, again, talked about spiritual goals, social goals. So this week, let's dig into the academic and life skills goals. Do you have some ideas or examples of some academic goals?
Well, I think, first of all, it helps us as moms to just understand that academic is number 3, and that keeps it in the right perspective. I used to say, as a counselor, when I spoke at different moms meetings, I would say, no one ever came into my office and said, I'm really struggling because I'm such a bad speller as a therapist. I mean, no one comes in and talks about their deficits in algebra. That is not a common adult problem, but deficits in with problems in their life, especially relational problems, that's what drives people in to go, pay for a therapist. So therefore, just take a deep breath when it comes to academic goals, because it's already under the more important things, spiritual goals and social goals. Don't let those academic goals keep creeping up to the top, because you have to keep them in the right space. So for us, we do very simple academic goals. For example, with Rush, who especially in those early years, one of the most important things is for them to write in a journal every day and to show me what they've written. And I really don't look at grammar and spelling and how perfect the writing is. In fact, that's not the point. It's just a good habit for them to practice writing, and it enables them to kind of reflect on their day and go back. They usually write about what they did. They usually draw some pretty fun pictures, but that just gets them writing. So that's a common early elementary goal. With Ray, my older one who's in the junior high years, a lot of our academic goals go around time management. Okay, you're going to have some projects to do this year. Let's have the goal of making sure we're not doing these the night before. So we're really working with that level, launching into high school, more independence, more ability to time to manage their workloads well. So that can obviously be used, no matter, again, what your academic situation is, helping your child with that time management piece. With our older ones, especially those that are launched into high school, and we do kind of a hybrid thing where our kids are part homeschooled and they're also in other, institutions or schools and have teachers that they're responding to. And we feel what such an important skill is helping them learn to talk to their teachers when they have problems or questions or they're discouraged. To develop that skill of talking to the teacher and learning that communication, that's a great example of an academic goal that we might set for our older kids.
Yep, absolutely. And repeating some things we shared in the last episode, this goal process really needs to be wrapped in a ton of encouragement. It can't be, here's a list of all the ways you're falling short. Here's all the problems in your life that need to be fixed. Colossians 3:21, it's an instruction specifically for fathers, but it applies to moms too. It says, do not provoke your children lest they become discouraged. There's this big warning that we do not want to allow our kids to become discouraged. Life is going to give your kids all the discouragement that they need. Just being on this planet is going to give them plenty of discouragement. So we got to be pouring encouragement in And this goal setting process can be a great way to do it. Let's talk about this other area of life skills goals.
Yes, and to this very day, I always think that we really should put life skills above academic skills, because in our house, it's really true that the life skills do take priority over the academic skills. In fact, the Rienow kids always have this joke of, Mom never tells us to do our homework. Mom never tells us, it's like a privilege to get to do your homework. That means you're not cleaning the kitchen. So, life skills are really important, and they are very significant in the Rienow house. But so with our 9-year-old, we have some practical goals, like, learning to put their clothes away properly in drawers. Really, that should go all the way up to our 18-year-old. It's kind of, we're not exactly neat and organized people.
Can I put that on my goal list for the year?
It's really a valiant effort for all of us. We are not strong.
List,
laundry is not a strong suit for me. So that doesn't mean that I can't
you have a lot of laundry.
I can't want bigger and better things for my kids. So, that would be an example of a life skill. Other things would be, like for Millie, it's finished driver's ed, but that involves her coordinating her driving times. I don't have the time to schedule her driving time, so that is on her to schedule these things to get the driver's ed class finished. Another life skill will be looking for opportunities to make money. We really believe in raising our kids to be producers and not consumers, so we get them thinking early, what are some things you could do to make a little money. Our son is walking the neighbor's dog every week. It's just a little bit of money, but it's a responsibility that takes priority for him. This is also where we would put things on with instruments, and that's another life skill, like what are some other things outside of academics that are important and skills that you want your kids to have. And for us, it has a lot to do with using their musical gifts. So talking to them about, what instrument they might be interested in. I have kind of this rule that they all take 4 years of piano to give them sort of a basics, and then they get to kind of choose after that. But then it might be for an older child, how can you use that skill this year? That would be a life skill example. Or can you join the worship team at church? So our life skills range all over the place, but those are some practical examples.
Yeah. And I was thinking about, one for Ray this year is just to be learning more outside yard work skills, mowing, snow, all of that, and realizing that part of that is on me, because when it comes to getting things done around the house, if you want it done well and done quickly, you do it yourself. And that's the fastest path to checking it off the list, and I want it checked off the list. So training a child to do the same job is actually going to take more of my time than if I actually did it. And it's not going to get done as well for a foreseeable future here. So that's we have to be participating and coming alongside. And I'm thinking specifically about that. If Ray is going to succeed in growing in that goal area, that's going to start with me taking the time to train him, encourage him, and not be frustrated if things aren't done to an adult level because he's only 13.
Yeah, and that reminds me of the very famous phrase I learned, you get what you inspect, not what you expect. I do a lot of expecting and not a lot of inspecting, and you will see the results of that philosophy in my home. So it is important to give them.
You mean just because it's on a list for a child to do doesn't mean it's going to get done?
Getting done or getting done to the way you might want it to be done. But again, have grace for yourself. I still say it's better to set the goal than to not do it at all. In fact, I was just back to school at my daughter's high school last night, and the dad who had been there for picture night, he said, I was so impressed with your chore charts. And I'm like, yeah, they look really impressive.
They're laminated.
They are laminated. They are up. They know what the expectations are. But how often I really inspect is another story. But that is okay. You do not have to do this perfectly to do it. I highly recommend you just do it. It gets your kids thinking differently. It gets routines happening in your home, and that's really what you want.
Right. But I strongly recommend lamination for these things because it makes you feel...
Yes, we always laminate them. Well, it's you impress people. That's the whole point of the laminated.
Yeah, and you put that in a kid's hands, and it's that stiff laminated thing. They know it's a serious...
Yes, it's true. And it's posted. It's for everyone to see. Yeah, their friends have mocked them a lot for their morning routines and their bedtime routines. But It is well worth it. Okay. So.
All right. Well, our encouragement to you with all this, just start somewhere. Maybe you don't do all 4 areas. Just pick spiritual and social and talk with your children about these. Amy and I mean, we come up with some of the goals that we have, but then when we sit down to talk with our kids about the goals for the year,
that's super important.
Yeah,
it's
a conversation. Do you agree that this would be a good goal for the year? And we're reviewing last year's goal sheet. And
Let me
with a little humor there, sometimes it's been a while since they've seen last year's goal sheet. You want to talk about that dynamic here?
I'm just going to be totally transparent and honest. First of all, I want to clarify, we do not laminate the goals and post those out for everyone to see. That's like their chore charts that are posted, not the goals. What we do with the goals is we give them the sheet at the breakfast, and they take that and they put it in their journal. And I'll be really honest, most of the times I don't look at those goals again till the next year's breakfast. But here's the awesome part about that. God is working in our kids' lives. I'll say that again. God is working in our kids' lives. And what has been such a fun process for me is to take that goal sheet out and go, wow, that was accomplished. Wow, look how great you're doing here. And it's totally okay. It's like, did this one happen at all? Not so much. So we have them go through this process where they put a plus if they feel it's accomplished. They put a 0 if they felt they made no progress, or a negative if it went the other direction. And we do that with all the goals in a very shame-free environment. But it's amazing to me to see how God is working in our kids' lives. And that's the beauty of this process.
Amen. Well, we'd love to ask you all to do us a favor. If Family Vision is an encouragement to you, if it's a blessing to you, would you partner with us and share the podcast with a friend? You can use all the links and clicks and share buttons, or you could just tell someone about it, someone in your life, that this is a show that you enjoy, whether it's on YouTube or Rumble or any podcast service. But the more you share it, the more families that we can reach with the good news of the gospel, and the more families that we can bring hope and help to from God's word. And we love being able to connect with you either through your headphones or seeing you here on YouTube, but we want to see you in person. There are some big VFM conferences coming up the next 2 weekends. The Visionary Family Conference is coming to Dallas to South Lake Baptist Church, and then to Nashville last weekend in September. In October, we will be in Jacksonville, Florida. In November, we're in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And then coming up, a brand new exciting thing in Chicagoland, November 12th, the Visionary Family Thanksgiving Ball. This is going to be a dress-up event with dinner, dancing, memory-making, family worship. You're going to love it. You can get all the information for these events coming up near you on our website, visionaryfam.com. And as always, you can reach out to us with your questions, with your prayer needs, or just to say hi. Best way to do that is through email, podcast@visionaryfam.com. And we look forward to our next time together with you on Family Vision.